What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition of here at Round One Sports Talk. I am your host, Edwin, and we're having an amazing show for you. Late night, getting off a bit late tonight, but better late than never, right? As they always say. So, fight fans, I have an amazing show for you tonight. If you're tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me get an R1 to let me know that you hear me loud and clear in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Uh, yeah, subscribe to the channel. And like always, let's get right into this video. Oh, fight fans. Saul Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga are scheduled to come into their highly anticipated matchup, right? And this got a lot of people talking in a lot of different circles. And here we go again. Here we go again in boxing, the unknown, right? So, uh, where do all fights start? They start at round one, right? Let's get it popping. Look, a lot of people are talking about Edgar Berlanga and they're trying to give him what we consider the benefit of the doubt. Puncher's chance in boxing. And that is exactly what they're giving him, right? What's up, all right? What's that coming up on the screen? Check your record settings, keyframe. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I gotta check it, I guess. So, Edgar Berlanga right now, the boxers are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and talk him up and let him know that we have his support and that Edgar, man, the boxing world is counting on you to dethrone Saul Canelo Alvarez's reign. Can he be the one to do it? Many of us have gone through this over and over inside of our heads, and the outcome, is usually the same. We don't see how Edgar Berlanga can outsmart such a skilled boxer like Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez's fight strategy is almost robotic in nature. Like, he does exactly what he's supposed to do in the ring, like he does in the gym. You could see it in his performance. Um, the way he throws his combinations, the way he steps into things, the way he's setting things up, exactly the same way I can imagine him working it in the gym. He almost looks like cartoonish when he's throwing it. It's like kind of like an action figure. That's how kind of like Saul is. Um, and his style of boxing, it comes with a high ring IQ, comes with an understanding of basically what you're going to try to do or what you're trying to do. The thing is with Saul is not only to switch it up, not to stay predictable, right? But try to not let Saul Canelo Alvarez think too much. Try to disrupt his game plan. And I think that that is the ultimate plan for Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga has to, you know, he talks about experience that he has and knowledge of the game. It's one thing to have knowledge or say that, you haven't had the opportunity to showcase your skills. Well, that's kind of bullshit. You have more than one opportunity to showcase your skills. And of late, your skills have been declining by many fans watching you in your fights. All of a sudden, you stopped your last opponent, but it was very hard for you to do so. Was your last opponent, you believe, on Saul Canelo Alvarez's level, Edgar Berlanga? I don't think so. Nowhere near it, right? So what you gotta do is Edgar Berlanga has to play the part. He has to play the part convincingly. He has to convince himself that he's the better fighter, that he's not intimidated or scared of Saul, that in fact, he's going to bring the fight to him, to his doorstep. Now, as the rounds start to go on, and if there ever comes a point in time where you hear the announcer say, Saul needs to knock him out to win this fight, that means Edgar Berlanga has been kicking his ass like Demetrius Bivol did in their fight. Going into the championship rounds, that's when you're going to get a more aggressive Saul Canelo Alvarez coming in trying to knock him out. And at that point, you could do one or two things. He can shy away. Edgar Berlanga could shy away and try to play it safe because he thinks he's up on the scorecards and he wants the fight to be over in his head. Sometimes that could spell disaster. Or you could bite down on the mouthpiece and continue doing exactly what got you there. Exactly like fighters like Teofimo Lopez. When he fought his biggest test in Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez showed that even though in that fight he was outmatched, supposedly outclassed, Loma was the veteran. Teo was the young guy. Teo did have a belt, right? But he didn't really fight that many great fighters until he came in the ring with Vasily. And on that night, Teo showed his ass, didn't he? Teo showed the boxing world all I was waiting for was for you to give me an opportunity to show you I'm not bullshitting, right? And didn't Teo beat the more highly skilled fighter? Why can't Edgar Berlanga do it? Yeah, Edgar doesn't have a belt like Teo did, but does that really matter? What we're talking about is one guy that we thought wasn't going to win the fight end up winning the fight and showing that they too also possess skills and they were just waiting for the right dancing partner to showcase their skills. Could this be one of those cases where truly Edgar Berlanga is not scared of Saul Canelo Alvarez? Not like the Charlo twin. Bro, he respected him a little too much. He was scared of Saul, right? Caleb Plant, a lot of these guys were. They were. They might not say they weren't, but they were. And I know it. So, you know, moving to the Colorado Hills, Edgar Berlanga from Florida, is not going to automatically make you a winner. His father got out of jail. He seems to have the pieces that he would want in this moment in his corner. I think he's trying to find himself as a fighter, Edgar Berlanga. And I believe that he's trying to will himself to this victory to convince himself that he does belong here. This is his moment. This is his time. This is Edgar Berlanga's Super Bowl. This is his Super Bowl. If he can pull this off, now, the one thing that stays in the back of my mind at all times is that at the end of the day, Saul Canelo Alvarez is human. He bleeds. He feels pain just like everybody else. He takes punches pretty well, but he still takes them. He's a human. And any man on this planet can be beat. Styles make fights. It just takes that particular style to beat you. The one thing I do like in this fight is that Edgar Berlanga is a true 168 pounder. He's fought his career there. So I like that. I like that he's fought big guys. Way bigger than Saul Canelo Alvarez. I'll tell you that much. Edgar Berlanga has fought big, big dudes. Yes, he has. And I'm not sure about their punching power. One of the guys he fought had a big KO percentage record, and Edgar ended up winning that fight against them. I'm not sure, in my recollection, that if the guy was any good, you know. But I did see a lot of Edgar Berlanga's early fights, and since they were so fast, he was knocking people out in the first round, and he had this big momentum about him. See, and that speaks to one of the things in this equation is that Edgar Berlanga does have power. He really does. Now let's see if Saul Canelo Alvarez can hold his power and that his iron chin is for real. Like I've seen Plant crack. I see that Caleb Plant got one punch knockout power. So he was taking Caleb Plant's punches. Yes, you know, Miguel Cotto, he can crack. Saul took his punches. Triple G, he can crack. Saul take his punches too. Munguia can crack a little. Ryder could crack a little. And it didn't seem like nobody really like. The one time I did see Saul Canelo Alvarez, not technically staggered, but a little bewildered, was against Demetrius Bivol. When Demetrius Bivol had him up against the rope, I saw that he was getting the best of Saul Canelo Alvarez, and he was just landing big shots, and Saul was trying to evade, and he kind of like stumbled there. I saw that in the fight, but I don't think I really ever seen anybody hurt him. Nah, I don't. And you know, Saul Canelo Alvarez now, right? Quickly gets onto social media, and this was earlier today, where that he announced that he wants the winner of Arthur Benavidez and Demetrius Bivol, that he wants the winner out of that fight. Now, the one good thing out of all that, right? If Arthur wins, he already expressed his Arthur's 39 years old as it is, right? And he already expressed that if he was to win this fight, he wants to try his luck in a higher weight division, cruiserweight, like heavyweight, and he wants to go up to see if he can do the same thing and repeat up there and capture all the gold up there. It seems like that's been the trend of late. Men trying to do that, you know? So uh I don't think that he would fight. And he said himself, Arthur, he's not interested in the Saul Canelo sweepstakes, that he's not interested in it, that he has his own ambition and goals. And if he wins, he's going to move up. So look at Saul trying to stab David the Monster Benavidez in the back. What the hell did David the Monster Benavidez do to Saul, man? Did he sleep with his girl or something? Or like Saul like goes above and beyond to stick it to him and make it public. Beg me for a shot. And when he begs, nope, no shot. What do I gotta do, Saul? Win the interim belt. He wins it, no shot. Yo, what the hell did he do? I mean, is he that scared of David? I find it hard to believe that world champions such as Saul Canelo Alvarez is scared of any man on the planet. I just Uh, it's mean. At least I'll fight you, right? I'm not saying I'll beat everybody, but shit, we gonna fight, right? And if you're Saul Canelo Alvarez, if I feel like that, how could he be scared of anybody? That's my mentality. Like when people say, "Oh, he's scared of David the Monster Benavidez," I'm like, well, maybe he's ducking him because styles make fights. But as far as like scared, shaking, like when he sees him coming down the street, that's like fear. Like, no, nah, I don't think it's like that, right? And he started to make me feel different, Saul, about this man. The way he's stepping on his toes, the way he's, you know, hucking them. And man, listen, I'm starting to think a lot of different things. At first, I'm like, maybe he's dragging it on the money. I shared my views on Saul and this whole topic. You guys see, you guys got receipts, right? So, I'm just like, man, this whole thing with Saul, and it just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. But Edgar Berlanga is the one that everybody's kind of like hoping on, that breaks this cycle of Saul Canelo Alvarez and picking and choosing the fights that he wants, and so forth and so forth. And I know that most of you out there have probably already heard of the breaking news that Tank Davis will be fighting Ryo in November, right? Which is another bullshit fight. Another bullshit fight, bro. Right there. That fight don't even make sense. I know that Ryo was one of the names on the hit list that Tank had. He was like one of the 6 names. I think Ryo was on that list, right? So it really doesn't matter what order, just that he beats the guys on the list. Those 6 fights, Tank is gonna leave boxing, according to Tank Davis. After he finishes that contract with Prime, he's done. That's boxers say a lot of shit, right? Okay. So the reason why I say that that fight is bullshit, not because of the competition that is Ryo, right? Nah, I would like that fight. I would like to see that fight actually with Ryo and Tank. The fight itself, oh, it's trash. Why? It's at a catch weight. It's not for Ryo's belt at 140 for a real 140-pound title, and it's not for Tank Davis's belt. So that fight is just a money bag grab. That's all that fight is. It's not for anybody's belt. When Tank beats Ryo, he still remains the 140-pound champion. If Ryo was to pull off the upset, Tank's still the 135-pound champion. Nobody loses nothing. They're just fighting at an imaginary weight division that doesn't exist. That's a catch weight. The rules for catch weight, man, listen, they're just abusing everything in boxing. Ryo got a little buzz off beating Isa Pipo Cruz. You see, financially, he has some backing, so he brings fans and money to the equation. Tank doesn't have another name, at least fan wise, that can help him carry the night for more money. Who else does Tank got? If Loma's not fighting him, Belichick's not fighting him, and Shakur's not fighting him, which are all the 3 champions, and then the number 1 ranked opponent, Cepeda's not fighting him, who the fuck is Tank gonna fight with a name? Who? Where's this mysterious guy that's gonna make ticket sales with Tank? I'll tell you, Ryo. Ryo, you fight Ryo while he's hot right now. Tank, they'll come out to see your fight. They right as far as marketing and money, but the fight itself, garbage. It's garbage. I don't want to see Tank Davis keep throwing away his career with these phony baloney fights that don't mean anything. They don't mean anything for his legacy. It's not another win in the division. It's not another title defense. Tank, you're not doing nothing for your legacy. At least have Ryo put the belt up on the line at 140 and fight him actually in 140. But if Tank was to win the fight, he's not going to defend the 140 title. Tank's a bit too small to be up in the 140. He shouldn't. I don't know what is he doing. But it's tough being Tank in this situation, and you feel like you're doing these dudes a favor by fighting them at 135 that don't deserve to be in the ring with him because there's nobody else left. So what is Tank to do? Fight Ryo. And actually, in that fight, People are saying that Ryo got a chance to beat Tank Davis. They're out of their mind. They're out of their mind. There is no way Ryo, with those skills, Ryo is a good boxer. He's got pretty decent power. He's like a better version, I would think, than than uh Mario Barrio. I believe Ryo is a better version than Mario Barrio was when Tank Davis fought him. I'll even give you that. That I think Ryo's that much better of an opponent. And still, with all that, Tank's gonna knock him out. Tank's gonna hurt him. You guys seen what Edwin De Los Santos did to him, right? Ryo was trying to bang on him, drop, he was getting his shots on, but those he doesn't do well with them power shots like that, like for a long time. And do you think that Edwin De Los Santos hits harder than Tank? You think that man hits harder than Tank? You think Edwin De Los Santos is a better boxer than Tank? Do you think he has more skills than Tank? El Rayo might have got better, a lot better since that fight. Oh, yeah, he has. He looked good against a short guy. He saw Pitbull Cruz. That was legitimately like 5, 6 inches shorter than him. El Rayo had him on weight, size, reach, everything. If he didn't win that fight, what would that say about El Rayo? Now, if you ask me, he drank too much of his Kool-Aid. His coach, Garcia, they're having a great, amazing year. Look at the year they had. Even the loss, it was great. They're having a great year over there. They must be really feeling themselves over there. They got the podcast show, him, his daughter, his son. Awesome. Great family love. But who the hell told him that he should fight Tank? The 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 right answer is, at the end of the night, he should fight Tank. He doesn't lose his belt, and he's about to make one of the biggest money grabs he probably made in his entire career, fighting fucking around with Tank. El Rayo. So the right answer was actually to fight Tank. That was the right answer. If I would have got that call, I would have been like, you mean to tell me, say that again? I'm going to keep my belt, win, lose, or draw. And you're going to pay me how much to fight who? Tank Davis. I could say I shared the ring with Tank Davis. Is this a joke? Who put you up to this? That's a no-brainer. Sign me up. What? Hell yeah, I would have fought Tank. You're damn right. If I was right, man, listen. I keep my belt. Man, listen. Let's go. He already lost. It's not like he's putting up his O. El Rayo already lost. What has he got? Another loss. Okay, fine. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Still the 140-pound champion. So I was like, shit. And then you got Shakur Stevenson with, man, listen. Ah, next, next, next. Pink power too much. I agree, brother. Paradox. Davis has to fight Pitbull. He doesn't have to fight Pitbull. He doesn't. And to tell you the truth, if Tank Davis was to fight Isa Pitbull Cruz again, unfortunately, he would knock him out. The next time he would fight him, Tank would knock him out. One, he beat him the first time. Two, when you fight a guy that you already beat, you got that confidence. Three, the most important thing of this all, we have to remember that Isa Pitbull Cruz was the smallest guy Tank Davis has ever fought in his pro career. Tank Davis has never fought anybody his size, his height, in his career. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has been bigger than him. Have you ever fought a smaller guy? Why is it the little guys always give you problems, right? They're so low, right? Tank's 5'5", he's 5'3". Esau Pitbull Cruz, what Tank didn't understand, he was so programmed throwing his punches up here that when he started fighting Esau Pitbull Cruz, he was so short, he was punching him on the top of his forehead. That's how Tank broke his hand. Remember, it was clear when we watched the fight. Tank Davis, I forgot what round it was, from like the sixth or the eighth round when he broke his hand. He fought Esau Pitbull Cruz with one hand for the rest of the fight. He never threw the other hand. Go watch the fight. So remember that. He legitimately beat him with one hand because Esau Pitbull Cruz and his dad in his corner were yelling at Esau Pitbull Cruz. They were telling him he only got one hand. And if you can't beat me with one hand, what do you think is going to happen the second time we fight? He's gonna know I was throwing my punches. The experience that he got on that night, Tank's gonna learn from that. He's gonna adjust his punches, dip a little. It's just a matter of time. He never really caught Esau Pitbull Cruz with that uppercut all night. It always hit like right here, pap, and because he got like no neck, so he would like tuck in under a little. It was just a matter of time before Tank landed that shot. And Esau just he had a good game plan. He was in Tank's face. He was smothering him. Uh, like I said, once Tank broke his hand, he was the one arm bandit. He was the true definition of the one arm bandit, not like Shakur. You know, Shakur said he broke the hand, but he continued to throw that hand throughout the fight. But he broke it. Tank broke his hand and never threw that hand again. He might have blocked something with it or like parried off, but he never threw it back at him. His hand was broke. He went to the hospital right after that. They put that shit in a cast. I remember. Yeah, so he legitimately broke his hand off his forehead. And I think that it was an interesting fight, but I don't think that Esau Pitbull Cruz possesses the power to hurt Tank and knock him out. Nah, I think he hits hard. You know, he hits really hard. You know what proved that to me? That's why Tank got a big melon, right? I'm real observant, right? And I pay attention to the small things. When they said when Tank Davis said Ryan Garcia was the hardest puncher he ever fought against, you gotta look when Ryan Garcia knocked out that dude's back molder, right? What's his name? Oscar, whatever. He hit him, boom, and popping out a back molder is not easy, right? Then another guy said it. Then another guy said it. Then I saw what happened to Devin Haney. And I said to myself, Ryan must really have that one hitter quitter like that. Look how he destroyed Luke Campbell. And a lot of those dudes, he hit them upside the head, and them dudes was just like folding. They didn't want to admit it after the fight, because they're still warriors. But after a while, they did. So when Tank was able to take them punches from Ryan like that, and he got caught clean. He got caught clean. It went to show me that not only can Tank is very skillful, very smart, very powerful, he can take a punch. When have you ever seen Tank Davis wobbled in a fight? Ever. And not even in the Esau Pitbull Cruz fight. Never had Tank in any serious trouble. So I was like, and Esau Pitbull Cruz doesn't have the belt now. And you can see that now the fight that Esau Pitbull Cruz was supposed to have, that was his fight. Now Rayo's taking his fight. Had he won that fight right there, Esau Pitbull Cruz would be fighting Tank Davis in November. You're damn right. It would be the Esau Pitbull Cruz too. He would be on fire after defeating Rayo. All he had to do was win that fight. So Tank took the less of the two evils. See, like Shakur is fighting a guy in Joe that's coming off of a loss that's moving up, right? So the guy's coming off a loss. Yeah, he lost his world title and he's getting another crack at a world title because it's Shakur's belt, right? But Tank is not saying that the guy he's fighting is coming off of a loss. You see? So he's coming off of a win. In fact, he just won a world title. So that's where the similarity is different. Where that Hank Davis's competition, if you ask me, is still better than Joe Cordine. So, you know, and then we have a lot of great fights on this card too. We got Danny Swift Hand Garcia. He's gonna fight Lara, and some people got Lara beating him, you know, more than a little bit. More than a little bit, people got Lara beating Danny. Yeah. And because ring rust is a real thing. Definitely it's a real thing. Let me read some of you guys' message, catch up with you guys because I get the roll in. So let me dial back all the messages and let me hit you guys back. You know what I'm saying? I'll be right with you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Come on. Salute, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rican rum. What's up, Carlos? How you doing? All right. I think that, you know, um, this move right now that we're seeing in boxing, just be patient with boxing right now, right? Soon everybody's gonna start to run out of room and excuses and stuff like that. I think that we're in an interesting situation. Although we're not getting the fights we want right now, we still have Shakur Stevenson being active, Tank Davis remaining active, Naoya Inoue remaining active, Terrence Crawford remaining active. And we have a lot of these guys still in the ring where that, Vasily, the one thing he has is I've always said it, he has the IBF. And in the IBF organization, as we all saw or we all see with our own eyes, they don't play around. Ex Terrence Crawford, ex Usyk, ex Saul Canelo Alvarez, which all three of them were just recently stripped of their IBF titles. Why? They didn't want to fight their mandatory. So if Vasily doesn't fight, he could take this little vacation, but the time's ticking on that title defense. You better believe it. So it's either he fights another guy and takes an because every time you enter the ring, let's just keep this funky. At this level, you take a chance of being beat. Anything can happen in a fight. Shit, you could be winning the fight and then all of a sudden twist your ankle and you can't continue. And the guy's awarded your belt. Anything can happen in a fight. It's not guaranteed you're gonna go in there and defend your belt. So at this level, you know, so look, we're not getting all the fights we want, but we will see some of our favorite fighters back in the ring, you know. On this night too as well, Caleb Plant, Trevor. Listen, I thought that Trevor, and I still think that Trevor is gonna be like, I think he's gonna give Caleb Plant some trouble. I really do. In the first half of the fight. Now, whether or not he's gonna be able to keep it all together with Caleb Plant's been in there with some interesting fighters, such as Saul Canelo Alvarez. And there's a lot of lessons in the boxing ring that he learned. So experience wise now, Caleb Plant, he's been around. He's been around gyms, he's been around fights, you know, um, and even though Trevor is undefeated, he doesn't know what it's like to lose. We're gonna see what he looks like against Caleb Plant. Las Vegas feels strongly about um, Caleb Plant. If I be checking, he's highly favored in that fight. And I think that's going to be a sleeper fight. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe Caleb wipes him down. Who knows? Maybe he just wipes, maybe Caleb's too smart for him. And then we'll see that there's levels to this game. But I like when you fight undefeated fighters, you know. You got to take that O and let them know that there is levels to this. So I like that fight. And then we got Rolly on the card too as well. You know, I think this is do or die for Rolly right here. Yeah, he wins this fight though. He's back in some good graces, you know, and let's see where he can go from there and see if he can try to get his belt back, right? Which I think Ryo would spank him. I think Ryo would knock Rolly out. Yeah. If Esau Pitbull Cruz did that to him, I think that Ryo, and you know, styles make fights, but I think that Ryo's tall. Rolly's tall enough that Ryo would even open up more. I think he was a little cautious of Esau Pitbull Cruz's hooks, and he still did good work in the fight. But I don't think that that was the best version of Ryo we saw at all. Nah, I don't think so. When you fight a man like Esau Pitbull Cruz, you got to fight him different. You got to be aware of his blistering speed in the inside. He doesn't have he doesn't have no jab, Ryo. And you can bank that he's not going to throw a jab. He's not a hard man to come up with a game plan to defeat Esau Pitbull Cruz. He's not very hard. He doesn't. He's and I was joking about that. And I said if there was anything I was going to put money on was the fact that Esau Pitbull Cruz doesn't throw one jab in the entire fight. I'll put money on that. That's how guarantee it is. He never throws a jab. So preparing for him is not really that hard of a puzzle. And if you have skills like Ryo does, yeah, he was going to pull it off. What came into question with Ryo, though, was his chin, the way that Edwin took him apart. So that's what came into question. That's why. But I thought going into the fight, Ryo was going to win that fight, yeah, against Isa. Yeah. I think Isa is an amazing fighter, man. He's the little engine that could. He's the type of fighter that brings you out of your seat because you're like rooting for the little guy and shit, right? And he's the perfect character for that part. Isa Pitbull Cruz. He's the perfect character. When I watch him fight, man, it's like that little guy inside of me, like just like pause, and he's there, pause. That definitely tells me that like root for the little guy, you know, and he, he's real explosive as a fighter, and he's fan pleasing. Isa Pitbull Cruz. So uh I like him. I just don't think that he ever belonged at 140. And I believe the only reason why these guys actually are beating him is because he's maxed out. He's 5'3". What is he doing at 140 pounds? He should be at 126. Shit, 122. He's over here maxing himself. He has no abs. He's just off like around. He's up in Cruz just round now. But he went and he chased his dreams and he dared to be great. He didn't belong at 135 with Tank. 130, Ryo probably. I mean, he's our Pitbull Cruz. I would say yeah, 130 he could stay there. You know, so yeah, I look. There's a lot of these fights right now that are pretty good, but Anthony Joshua and Dubois fight, that's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be a really an amazing fight right there. I want to see that fight. Because I think this might just be Dubois' time. I just think it might be his time now. He's a young fighter. He's coming up. He's really starting to evolve as a heavyweight. With every fight, I see that Dubois is just getting that much better. AJ's been here. He's been at the top. He's been the champion. He's been at the heavyweight throne. He has the experience. He definitely has that. AJ knows what it takes to win. He's been in big fights with the Klitschko's. So it's not going to be the moment for AJ. It's really going to be whether or not AJ gets to Dubois. Now, many of us think that, yeah, AJ's going to be able to get to him when he catches up to Dubois and he gets his timing. He's going to knock out Dubois. That's a lot of people are thinking that. And AJ's looking stronger than ever. He doesn't look like he's lost any punching power or speed. He looks good. He looks good. You know, um, you could see in his frame he's getting a little older, but overall, AJ still looks the part. Definitely still looks the part. So, the interesting thing is in this fight is that I want to see what the ball's gonna do against a fighter such as skilled as AJ. The problem is he in his last fight he fought a very skilled and dangerous opponent, and he passed that test with flying colors, which leads me to believe that he's ready for this. He's ready to fight AJ now. A few years ago, not so much. I would have went with AJ hands down, and I would have been like, he's gonna knock him out. A few years ago, yes, and that's how fast a fighter can evolve in boxing and get better in just a few short years. And all of a sudden, my tune is changing. Just like when I'm saying Naoya Inoue, right? And Junto Nakatoni. I said, just give it a few more years. And I think Junto will give him a better fight. He'll give him a better fight. You'll be surprised how much better they get in that little bit of time 18 months, 2 years, you know? And I thought that, Bam Rodriguez as well can be a future opponent for the Japanese superstar, because I see it in every day in sports that just 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought Dubois would have been in the ring with AJ. I don't think they should have shared the same ring just 2 short years ago. Yeah. So I like that fight. I want to see that fight. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tune in and watch that fight. Uh, I think that it's gonna be an explosive fight between those two big men. You know, um, may the best man win. May the best man win. It's actually gonna be, I believe, Dubois' first title defense for the IBF, and it's gonna be against Anthony Joshua. So listen, that is the fight. Anthony against Demetrius Bivol. That's the fight right there. That's the future fight. Once everybody over passed, this Saul Canelo Alvarez fight is interesting. Yeah, it's okay. It's Saul. We're gonna watch, right? Right? Because we support boxing. But the fight to be calling, even the AJ fight, but fuck that. It's an interesting fight too. I want to watch it. There's only one fight coming up, and that's Arthur Benavidez against Demetrius Bivol. That's it, baby. That's the fight to watch. That's where the fire is gonna be. That's an interesting fight, you know. And Arthur coming off the injury, the knee, everything. I If you would have asked me a few months ago, I thought Arthur would knock him out, knock out Demetrius Bivol. Now I don't know. Now I don't know. Uh, I think Demetrius Bivol got enough skill to outbox him and avoid his power. If anybody in the division can finally do that, tell me anybody else more qualified than Demetrius Bivol. It's the truth. It's the truth. Now, there's a lot of killers still there. You got Yard. You got a lot of killers still there, and guys coming into division like David the Monster Benavidez, which is in the batter circle for the next man up. Whoever wins that fight between them two, that's the next man up. But he's not as much a big a threat for me than he was at 168. Why? Why do I feel that way? Maybe because of his last performance. I just don't. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like you talking about David the Monster Benavidez at 168. He's a monster. I don't think nobody's beating him. You talking about David the Monster Benavidez at 175? Not sure he beats Bivol. Not sure he beats Arthur. I'm not as confident at 175. Nah, I'm not. No. What's up, Armando? Carlos with the knockout. That's what will happen. Look, Carlos, man. Yeah, look, I can see what you're saying. You know, um, Demetrius Bivol, uh, he's a puzzle in itself. This guy can box, man. You know what I liked about him? You know what was curious to me? So I went back, right? And I'm doing this for Edgar Berlanga as well, right? Because the Edgar Berlanga fight is about to come up. So I'm starting to like look back at some of Saul Canelo Alvarez's losses, which was two. And you can't really take a lot out of the Floyd because nobody's gonna move like Floyd, right? So what are you left with? Demetrius Bivol. What did he do? The one thing he did phenomenal in that fight, distant management. It was A plus. His distant management, he was in the right range to let off his shots right at the tip end. And when Saul started to cover up, then he dropped some bombs on him, pushed off, set, and then gave him something right there too as well for coming off. He never let Saul Canelo Alvarez get out of situation without taking damage. For every situation Saul was in, Demetrius Bivol was capitalizing. He was taxing Saul. He was making him pay. He taught him a boxing lesson in there, basically. He really did. He really did. A lot of people don't want to admit that for Saul. They just saying yo, can you believe that Saul even went on? Remember, he was saying he thought he won the fight and that it was a lot closer and that Saul was saying that he was robbed. How delusional was he? And then people were trying to like sell it like it was a lot closer. No, it wasn't. You see how Saul's fan base surrounds him and protects him. Then Saul starts buying into that and he starts thinking, wait a minute, maybe I did win that fight. No, no, you didn't win that fight. So what Demetrius Bivol did in that fight was A1 was his distant management. He would never allow himself to overextend and to cross that line where that Saul is dangerous. He stood within that range almost the entire fight. I mean, Saul kind of like, rushed in his moments and shit and try to create his situations and they tied up here and there, whatever, you know what I mean? But for the most part of the night, that was A1 on him. And I commend him for that because he had a well executed game plan, him and his coach, and he executed it to perfection on that night. Arthur Benavidez, listen, he's a human being. I don't think he's a robot. How many humans can go through that kind of surgery in a few months span, heal up for it, go back into a training camp, and then fight probably possibly your toughest opponent as well? Where do they do this stuff at? A lot of guys take risk and chances. in certain fights, and I've seen that happen where that the guy had an injury, comes back, but he's not fighting his toughest opponent at the time. He might be fighting a okay fighter, and he's nurse the injury, healed up, went into a training camp, fought this guy, won the fight. But it's not the toughest fight of your life. How how good is his knee? Arthur's. Are they not telling us something? Of course they're not. You think Arthur's team's gonna come out and say, "Nah, his knee's fucked up"? Hell no. Nah, they're not gonna say nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? So he Arthur just he's a tough guy. Look at the man. He looks like he fought a bear on the way to the fight. Yo, you know what I'm saying? He looks like he fights the fight to go to a fight. You know, he just looks like a fighter, Arthur. You know, um, it's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be, and it's for all four belts. All four belts are on the line, so we are finally gonna get a definitive king at the 175. You know, uh, unfortunately, it's not an American fighter. It's not one of our guys. We don't got anybody up that big, man. Terrence Crawford is our guy right now. You know, and if Terrence leaves, then I guess as American fighters, the torch would actually fall on Sebastian Fundora because he's an American fighter and he's a champion. The reason why you got to pick Terrence Crawford over him because he's pound for pound number one. So our best fighter is Terrence Crawford at 154. But we also got Sebastian Fundora. He's an American fighter. You know, so but if Terrence leave, it falls on Sebastian Fundora being our heaviest champion up to date right now at 154. That's it. We don't have no belts beyond that. Yeah. So we got a little bit of work we need to do. Uh, maybe one day we'll get somebody to get a heavyweight championship. I don't know. You know, the closest we had just lost, baby. He just lost. And that was probably he's still young. He's 24, but he's talking crazy, talking about his heart's not in it. He doesn't want to be a champion. He just wants money. He says ridiculous stuff. Talk about he's emotionally melting down. He wanted to retire out of the sport. I think he's doing more partying than training. He looked good though his last fight. He just Umbe just too hard of a puncher, man. You can't stand there. You gotta be able to move. You know, you gotta be able to move. That guy is a natural knockout artist. He fought that African dude. He's a natural knockout artist. He'll knock almost any human out if you catch him. But you can disrupt that. I saw him lose to even a lesser foe. Guy took his shots pretty well. The one thing is the guy kept hitting him and evading, clinching him when he needed to. So I saw him lose. So yeah, yeah, he could be beat. You just got to know how to beat him. So Baby lost to him, and that was the only American shot I think we had. I was looking at Richard Torres, right? The tornado and shit. And then he got injured. So I was like, shit. So I was trying to see if we can get other fighters up there and shit, but not as right now. Not right now. I don't see anybody just yet until, maybe a young star pops up and takes the torch for us and brings back some of this gold, baby, you know? So yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, we don't have any fights scheduled, do we, for world championships except Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson's the only person defending his title against a guy that's moving up in weight, right? Tank's not gonna be defending his title now in November. That's like a catch weight. Uh Jerron Boots Ennis, yeah, could be defending his title. So we might have Jerron Boots Ennis in the wing. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I also wanted to see Stephen Kubo Fulton at 130. I want to see what happens here, where he goes from here, because I believe Stephen Kubo Fulton can one day possibly be a world champion. And let me tell you something, guys, right now. Who the hell is at 130 making any noise? They got good champions. Eh, they got two good champions. That's it. That's it. Uh Stephen Kubo Fulton can actually go to 130. Shit, I should have looked this shit up too, man. Because I want to see what he looks like. I'll look this up later. I will talk about that in another episode. All right. Just remind me about that, about Steven. I want to check it out. Um, that's an opportunity for him. Yeah, that's an opportunity. And then, like, look, I already started digging on now up on oh yeah, in a way already, and I want to try to like debunk some of these rumors and shit, and who he's really fighting, rather than them trying to like. You got to watch it in boxing because a lot of people do what Tio does, and Ryan Garcia does, which they're real famous for, cloud chasing. They attach their names to whenever they don't have a fight scheduled to keep their name in the media circling. They start talking crazy until they get that fight, so that their name is hasn't died down and you don't forget about them. Terrence Crawford, I don't know, Tio wants to fight Terrence Crawford. You know that's crazy. But yet people eat it up. They eat it up. Oh, Tio said this. I'm looking at them like, come on, you really think you? Come on, man. That's straight up for like attention, clicks, to keep his name irrelevant until he gets his next fight. So when a lot of people do these kind of things, you know, every weight division does it. You know, Sam Goodman jumped in the ring, was like, "No, yeah, no way, fight me or vacate those belts." Did he fight him? Did he fight him next? No, did he? Who this? You don't even want to know who he fought, right? So you see, get Sam Goodman get on the social media, he starts popping off at the gums quick, right? And he's saying that now, oh yeah, in a way, beat TJ Doheny, his leftovers, and ba. But wait a minute, Sam Goodman, you couldn't knock out TJ Doheny. In fact, no one has ever had. He's your leftovers, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't Naoya Inoue knock out TJ Doheny? Yeah, he quit, right? Knocked him out. And you couldn't do that. So what are you talking about? He fought your leftovers. What the hell are you talking about? He beat the guy better than you did. At the end of the day, he's the only person on record to stop TJ Doheny. Naoya Inoue. Yeah. So, like, what the fuck is he talking about? So, TJ Doheny is saying that, yes, in fact, he's going to be the guy that's going to fight Naoya Inoue in December. Then all of a sudden, like 24 hours pass, and I'm starting to hear MJ's name. And I'm like, what? Already? Sam Goodman's on that shit again? Like 24 hours didn't even pass from his interview. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to hear MJ's name. I'm like in the higher offices. Why are they saying MJ's name if this is allegedly ironed out? This has been. Yeah, I was supposed to fight this. I'm supposed to see you in December. So what's going on again? You see, you see what I'm saying? But I do know one thing, that Bob Arum's going to stay true to his word. Now, in a way, is in fact coming to Las Vegas at the start of 2025. Who his opponent's going to be in Las Vegas, I can honestly tell you guys one thing, right? that if he stays at 122, his opponents do not change. They do not change. He's already cleaned out the division. He legitimately start have to go backwards at this point after the December fight. That's it. There's no other. Not he beat the two undisputed world champions, the number one two contender, and now number back to the number one contender. Right. So that's all he fights is world champions and the next man up. That's it. Okay. But if he moves up to 126, that's when all the fighters' faces change. Now he can say, I'm coming to America to fight American fighters. Now he can actually say that, and they can actually say that about him. You need to come to America and fight our guys. Why? At 126, we got plenty of American fighters. The faces change. And when the faces change, the competition changes, the level changes, it all gets better. Then the world gets to see Naoya Inoue on on stage in America, showcasing his skills for the world to see. Although he's already been to America and we've talked about this, he's fought in America a total of 3 times already. It's just that it was during the time of the corona epidemic. There was no crowds. And I think that that hurt his opportunities. That when he finally came to America, there was nobody in the crowd. And it wasn't due in part to us not showing up. It was due in part to an epidemic that was going on. So now here he is. Fast forward to now. Naoya Inoue made himself this somewhat superstar. I wouldn't say a global superstar, not just yet. And it's a shame that a man achieved so much in so little time and he's not a global superstar. What that's saying about us? I claim that I love boxing. I claim that I want to know who the best fighter in the world is. But yet, as a fan, um, I only like so many fighters. When they tell me about a new fighter, I'm not up to watch them or even think about anybody else being better than my fighter, but I claim to love boxing. No, I'm just a fan of individual boxers at that point. You see, that's how you would be. Now, if you really love boxing, you love to see the best doing it, he should be on your list. I'm not trying to sell you or convince you that he should be your favorite fighter, but at least if you like fighting and you want to see great fights, watch his fights. Watch his fights. And you tell me, I'm just talking to my brother the other day. In fact, today, I was talking to him today, and he was telling me, yo, we were talking about Neo Inoue, right? And I was reminding him that even before I started this podcast and this TV show right here, Round One Sports Talk, right? That way before I started all of this, I was in his living room showing him YouTube highlight videos about him. And he was reminding me, he was like, you knew back then. I was like, I knew what I saw. Even way back then, I'm talking 5, 6 years, like I knew back then what I was watching. And I saw the storm that was coming. I couldn't, and let's be honest, I wasn't quite sure he was gonna be this good. I couldn't foresee that, right? But I knew he was good. And I knew what they were saying about him didn't make sense. I had to see for myself. I had to do my own eye test. And I had to, determine. Man, listen, it didn't take much. I'll tell you that much. It did not take long. One fight, you can tell. I was like, huh, let's see the next one. With each fight, I was like, huh. I was like, okay. And look, I'm as American as they come. I'm hard to impress. And I'm even harder to convince that these guys from overseas are going to come over here and beat our very best. Yeah, right. It's not going to happen, right? Somehow, some way, we'll end up beating that guy. Don't worry. Wait for it. We'll get somebody, right? That's how we're cocky as fuck. Americans, right? So when I first heard about him, I was like, yeah, he's doing good over there. He's doing good over there, man. Wait till he comes over here, he starts fighting some of these tough Mexicans or these tough Russians or Ukrainian fighters or Filipino fighters. Wait until he starts fighting those kind of caliber Puerto Rican fighters, right? Every fighter I just mentioned, he beat them all. Not just beat them, he destroyed them all, basically. He's rocking like a 16 knockout streak. If you don't count the Denair one because he destroyed him in a second, so I don't count that no more. Technically, he's like on a vicious knockout streak. 23 world championships, consecutive world title fights after a row, with 4 divisions being in that equation, meaning he jumped up each, like, it's fucking video game shit. That's you playing on your PS5, moving up the divisions, and the way he's doing it, just fucking crazy, bro. But yeah, I think he's been preparing for something. Naoya in Naoya in a way, he's been preparing for something. And I think that thing is to jump up to 126. He didn't go watch Boo Boo Shoo Shoo Carrington and sit in the audience in New York City just to scope him out for nothing, for shits and giggles. If he didn't have any intention on going up there, he went to watch what considerably one of the best fighters without a belt in the division, which is probably going to be a future champion, which is the buzz around Boo Boo Bruce Carrington. He didn't sit in New York City, watch him perform, get up, walk out, gaining 2 pounds every weight as a schedule because he's going to stay at 122. It don't make sense. If you're reading everything as it's falling, he's preparing for something. You don't prepare for something if you're already there. You just get better at it. You're preparing to leave. All the signs point he's going to leave 126. Just when, and it's up to him. Because I like that about Naoya Inoue. I like that about him. He knows the responsibility of a fighter. He knows that this is on him. This move right here, it's on him. Win, lose, or draw. He's not going to be the type of guy that he's going to say, well, you beat me because, I moved up in weight. You know, if you beat him, he's saying you beat the best version of him. He's not going to have any excuses because he prepared well. So if you beat him, then he's going to give you the nod. Not like you guys rushed him up there, blimped him out, and beat him in a weight division he didn't belong in. You didn't beat him on the up and up. And as far as we can tell right now, no one's beating Naoya Inoue in his own real natural weight division. You can't beat him there. It's already been proven. No one's beat him in his natural weight division. No one. Now he's just moving up, venturing on to new territory, discovering new land, um, um, uh, invading castles, getting crowns and shit. That's what he's doing as a real king. Should. Man like that, skill like that, let him walk around, stretch his legs a little, see where he ends up. So, fight fans, listen, guys. What's up, Jonathan? Salute, baby. In the building. Please don't forget to give the video a like and please comment because the more you guys comment, the more they push out the video into the algorithm. So help me with this, guys. Give me those likes and give me them comments. Type as many as you can. The more comments, the more they push out the video, the more my voice gets heard, the more we get bigger as a brand. And you know, so listen, fight fans. Armando, I have a question right now. Would you who would sell more pay-per-views than Edgar Berlanga versus Saul Canelo Alvarez? Let me read that again. I have a question right now. The right. The fact that it's so highly anticipated for Saul to fight David the Monster Benavidez, the only way I could see that you could try to match those numbers with Berlanga would be going along with the story basis Puerto Rico Mexican rivalry type thing and trying to get the fans to buy into it, and you could pretty, do a big you could probably do big numbers with that alone. I'm not sure if the fans are bought into the fact that that's what this could be. I don't know. That depends. But I think, personally, I think that the Saul Canelo Alvarez David the Monster Benavidez fight would break the needle. That shit's gonna. We've been waiting for that fight for so long, but I tell you what would make a lot of money. If Berlanga was to beat Saul Canelo Alvarez, the second fight, that'd be real big because in the wing is gonna be yo. I believe if he pulls this victory off, David the Monster Benavidez doubles back and goes right back down to 168 and try to secure a fight against Berlanga. He'll be in Berlanga's face, trying to like beat Berlanga for that belt, for the opportunity at them belts. Because I like David the Monster Benavidez better at 168 than I do at 175. Maybe if he shows more improvement in his next fight, that. But I think his next fight would be against the winner out of Arthur and him, ain't it? Or he has one more fight that he's gonna put in between. You know, let's see what happens. Listen, I think because the tricky thing about fans, right? Sometimes you don't think they'll show up to a fight, and all of a sudden Jake Paul's making $33 million. And you don't know what the hell they see in that shit. But he's selling out arenas, ain't he? So sometimes it's hard to call what the fans would really attract to. You know, you never know. It's that one fight that people just buy. And, you know, and pay per view numbers are never going to be quite the same until they lock down this piracy thing, right? That's what Mayweather made so much money on back in the day that, unless you had that little box that they send the bullet to, the pirate box, and you knew the cable dude and you threw him a couple bucks and you got one with the long cord that was coming out of your grandmother's room and you were clicking the channels, right? Unless it was that era, everybody was forced pretty much to buy the pay-per-views. That's why that was a golden era in pay-per-view sales. These guys right now might be bigger stars and there's more recognition to the fight, but there's more ways to steal the fight. That's why the pay-per-view numbers don't do so good. And it's rare when somebody sells just 1 million pay-per-view buys. When back in the day, a million was just starting the fight, the talks. You sold a million, you ain't did nothing. Like it was like Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, they were selling millions of pay-per-view buys, like killing it. These guys ain't gonna touch these dudes' records as far as gate records, attendance, and money wise at the fight. Yeah, you could beat them there. Yeah, with ticket prices being so high, and the economy like growing and whatever, everything's so damn expensive. Hey, I'm pretty sure you could beat somebody's live gate. That's possible. The live gates are beatable, but the pay-per-view, nah, not unless they lock down on that shit like that. So that's why pay-per-view so high because of all like the piracy. They figure like for every person that buys it at $90, that's 3 or 4 people that you get it. And they never went down. In business, the thing is, whenever you see in business, right, uh, something happen and supply and demand increases the value of the product, right? If that product goes up from $2 to $10, the minute that the situation gets fixed and supply and demand is everywhere, do you think that that's going to go back down to $2? Hell no. We already got you paying $10 for that. They just they gonna keep it at 10. That's why if the gas went up, go back to what, $1.43, like the good old days, that'll never happen. We already got you paying it at this. If you think the price of milk is gonna go down, you're out your mind. Oh no, 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 it's going up because the economy's up, but it's gonna fluctuate. Then the prices of food and everything, that'll never happen. That's business 101. Once we got you paying for it, it's gonna stay there. That's how it is, right? Business 101, man. So, fight fans, listen, I had an amazing time. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do me a favor. And like always, I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have a good night. Love each other. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.